Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Menopause Matters Tuesday. Is menopause wrecking your health or wreaking havoc on your health? I hope not. I hope it's not. And I hope as you transition through this time that you are doing all the things that returns you to your inner self, to your inner peace and wisdom. And that's what it's all about. So I usually do pop on here with Martha. Martha is away, and the lovely Martha always is there to help me with the questions and everything. So I'm doing it solo. So please just bear with me today as I try to navigate this. And hopefully it's saying I got a slow connection, which I'm not happy about. My internet has been a bit funny since yesterday, so I'm hoping it's all good, but we'll see how we go. So welcome to Menopause Matters series. This series is all about answering your questions, and I am a functional medicine practitioner, herbalist and functional nutritionist and holistic health coach. My job is to help recalibrate women's health and recalibrate your brain in this transition, because this is what it's all part of. It's a recalibration of the brain as it makes such a vast change, in its landscape, from your reproductive years to perimenopause and menopause. Such a vast change. So many things are happening. It can be quite overwhelming. One of the questions I think I'll start with is, what age do women go into perimenopause? And this is so fascinating because it has slightly changed over time. So the age of onset in the US is 37, which is American, US, but we have reports here. So women are now from a younger age reporting to suffer perimenopausal symptoms. So these symptoms could be the hot flushes, could be the mood swings, the insomnia. It might be the weight gain. It might be that their blood sugar levels have increased suddenly. It's also maybe, in regards to some mental health challenges. So women are going through perimenopause much earlier. So we see that quite a fair bit. So it's something that I think women need to be in tune to, and to look at, different modalities to help you with that. And there's so many out there. We've got Tracy. Hi, Tracy. Thanks for joining me. And we have so many different ways that we can look at that through your nutrition, as I said, through different modalities, using herbs, using practices, breathing techniques, nice grounding therapies. So we don't have to launch into drastic changes. Just simple lifestyle changes can really help with that. So that's one thing I would really look at differently. So yeah, 37. So you could be in perimenopause for the next 13 years of your life. You could be going in it. You could be in it until, you're 51, which 51 is the age of menopause. In terms of, the transition to menopause, the pause, the cessation of bleeding. So it is a long time. So it's a very long time not to feel healthy and not to feel great and not to be all the things and do all the things, because you're spending a period of time unfortunately with symptoms, and that can be debilitating. So not great. So I think we need to really think about ways that we can help ourselves to look at our lifestyle. If you have had blood tests done and you had some blood work done and you've seen that things are a little bit hairy there, then you might want to take note of that. Because if you're fairly young and you're still, not even 40 yet, you want to make sure you're looking after yourself. Because for every decade, and I say this continuously, probably every week, every decade we're looking after the next decade of our health. So if you're in your 30s, you're really looking out for your 40s. In your 40s, you're really looking out for your health in your 50s. So it's a report card for each decade. And I think, that's the one thing that we have to really remind ourselves of. And that's why it's so important. We want to launch into things like HRT. HRT hasn't just been popular now. It's been around for years and years. Bioidentical hormone has just more recently made its way through the medical breakthrough in terms of hormone replacement as such, or MHT. But we don't want to launch in too early. It can be a little bit of a cash cow sometimes because, with hormone replacement therapy, and with the exception of bioidentical hormone, it can be, it is synthetic. So it's not always going to help you, and sometimes it can mask symptoms of perimenopause, and it can suppress what's happening early on. So if you're 37 to 40 to 42, unless you're going through primary ovarian insufficiency or you've had a medically induced menopause that's happened, using HRT is probably not the best way to look at your symptoms as a quick fix. We talk a lot about quick fixes, especially in this series. So that's not where I'd be looking. I'd be ensuring that I was doing all the things, like your lifestyle intervention, your food, using herbs and nutraceuticals and supplements. One lady asks me the topic of HRT versus the pill that's suggested during this time, and her understanding is that the pill is essentially HRT on steroids, and that there's so much conflicting information on it. And it's so true, and thank you very much, Lisa, for your question there. So why is the pill prescribed more often? It is prescribed really along that journey for women from puberty to perimenopause and menopause. It is usually not prescribed over the age of 50. Usually it can be if a woman is still menstruating at that time. But I think it is over-medicalised, and it is what the GPs and general practitioners, not to hang anything on our GPs, they're busy, and it's pretty much what they've learnt in reproductive health and gynecological health and in the whole health of hormones, the hormone world, is that they're prescribing what they know. So they know the pill, they've probably had more exposure to the pill than hormone replacement therapy, and very much to bioidentical hormones, which there's quite confusion about what bioidentical hormones are. So they will prescribe that more readily. The problem with doing that is that pill does mask the perimenopause symptoms, as I was just explaining as well, because it does seize that ovulation, and that's the problem. Ovulation can get quite disrupted and can completely stop when being on the pill. So it's really the first port of call for our medical practitioners, but not really the best solution for us when we're looking at ways to improve our periods. Women will go there with perimenopausal symptoms of heavy bleeding or pain, and a lot of them will mail me to say that they will put on a pill, for a short term, just to improve the symptoms. When you're not improving symptoms, you're masking them, and you're masking the actual signs that we need to really look out for. We want to know those signs so that we can do the best that we can to ensure that we're actually, ensuring that we're attending to those symptoms and signs. So that's so important for us to know. During this time, if we don't have those symptoms, and where those symptoms are masked by the pill, then that's not a really great way for us to know where we are in our health and well-being overall. So really something to think about when, sorry guys, keep knocking this, when we are looking at our health overall. The pill has its place sometimes, but I'm not a huge fan of the pill as such. I know what it does symptom-wise, and masking it isn't the way forward. So if you want to have a chat more about this and you're on the pill and you've been told that this is one of the only ways that's going to help you with your symptoms, or, your estrogen dominance or bleeding or your pain or your migraines and headaches, please, mail me, or I do run a free 20-minute hormone clarity call. So I'm happy to jump on call with you to discuss that and see what your other options are, definitely. So that's probably why, Lisa, that, they are prescribing the pill, is because what they know. And it isn't the best option. What is a better alternative, especially if someone's gone into primary ovarian insufficiency due to eating disorder, over-exercising, under-eating, etc., is probably, HRT can work in that aspect, but the synthetic progestins and synthetic estrogens can sometimes have an impact on overburdening the body as well. So you might want to look at a bioidentical hormone that is closely, is more molecular to what we produce in our body. So that might be an option instead for you. And it is becoming a little bit more recognized. A lot of GPs don't know about it. They do feel that, it's still related to that cancer risk. When, prometrium, which is the progesterone form of bioidentical hormone, has endometrial benefits. So there's a reduction in endometrial cancer. The other problem when taking synthetic hormones like estrogen and progesterone, or just estrogen on its own, it's synthetic, is the risk of cancer overall. And the fact that GPs are not prescribing progesterone to help with the endometrial health, the lining. Because when estrogen is increased with synthetic hormones, is that it can build up in the lining of the endometrium in the uterus. So that's not a good thing. We need to shed that. And when that building lines up, that's where the cancer risk is. So it's really important to work with a practitioner who's really invested in hormonal health and invested in overall understanding of the hormonal pathways in regards to hormone replacement therapy. We can complement hormone replacement therapy, and I think that's really important. That's another question, is how do complementary medicines work with it? Well, as I've said week in and week out, is that it isn't the one-stop, treatment. We can complement with lifestyle changes. There's herbs and there are supplements that we can use to help, really treat specific symptoms. And if that is an issue, you need to really, you want to speak to somebody about it, but it's really important to make sure that we're looking at different ways of not only having HRT or MHT, but to also do the other things, because it's not going to solve every problem. It's not going to solve every issue. So that's the other thing. So just have a look at that. Just if you're working with a practitioner and you suddenly find yourself on HRT or bioidentical hormone, is look at other things that you can do. Sometimes, the whole issue might be insulin resistance, and they've put you on estrogen therapy because you're insulin resistant. We'll work on the insulin resistance first before going on hormone replacement therapy. So that's the other thing. Sometimes we don't always need it. Sometimes it can be overprescribed and underdiagnosed. So this is where you've got to also, what I said last week, is really take a vested interest in your health yourself and see where you fit in with all of this, and whether your body is in the best place to take on HRT. Because sometimes if we have poor gut, we have poor clearance, where our detoxification is off, that doesn't help when we're overburdening it with more hormones that we're not clearing. That's where estrogen dominance takes place, and that's when a plethora of other symptoms and issues can really come up for you. Another question I've received from a lady is around, how will I know when it's time for me to take HRT, and even if it is the right pathway for me? That's a really good question, because I think, once again, what I said last week, it's taking that deep dive into your health and seeing where you are, getting the labs done, and also seeing where your symptoms are at. If you're age 37, 39 and you have symptoms, I would think about where I could make improvements to my health first. So if you get your blood lab work done, have someone like a functional medicine practitioner or somebody who knows how to really read the labs properly to give you a overview of what your labs are saying. In conventional medicine, the range will be as wide as that. But in functional medicine and in integrative medicine, is what I do, I practice, is very narrow. So look within the narrowest range of things. So when we're doing blood work, we're ensuring that the actual parameters of what we're working with are within a range that is safe. So you want to work on that. You would want to see where you're at with your BMI. You want to see, I'm not a fan of the BMI. I think more your waist measurement. You want to look where your waist measurement is. You want to see that you're not at risk of cardiometabolic issues and all the rest of it. So that's something really important, I think, that we need to factor in as well. So just want to know where your health is overall. How are you feeling? If you're not sleeping well, what changes can you make to improve that? Is it just getting into an earlier night? Is it setting up your day early? I mean, in different, in different practices, alternative practices, we look at sleep universally as something, as an important factor, as a reset. Is something that we do. We start early in the day, resetting our circadian rhythm. So is it that, do we have to take HRT? Do we have to take other hormone replacement therapies just to help us with some single things that we can probably make some small shifts about in order to create a change with? So I would be looking at that. I would be looking at that aspect of things and making sure. How do we know? Well, if you get a day 21 test, so maybe you want to check your progesterone levels because your mood is unstable, or you're feeling the insomnia is getting really bad. You've tried herbs, you've tried different resets and everything, and nothing is working. I would really look at that. I would really look at your progesterone. So that might be a reason to take progesterone therapy. It might be a reason to say, right, I'm going to go on a progesterone-based bioidentical hormone. Not a progestin, but a progesterone, a bioidentical-based one, like Prometrium in Australia here. So you might want to do that. You might want to also look at your herbs. There are many herbs that can help you with building your progesterone levels. So you don't always have to go down that pathway. As a practitioner, I support both. I support my clients who are on them and my clients who decide to go the botanical route or botanical pathway, I put them on. So where I meet you where you are. So wherever you want to be as a practitioner, after I've read your blood work, we've done some functional medicine testing. We've looked at every avenue, then that's where I would go with that. So that's something I would definitely say, where you the option is yours. If your symptoms are severe enough, if there's a lot of depression going on, there's anxiety, it's debilitating, it's interfering with your quality of life, then I say all power to you. You do what you feel is right. Irrespective of your age group, I'll support you. But make sure you're doing things to support your health as well. And don't just rely on the HRT or the bioidentical hormone to do all of it for you, because that's not what it's going to do. It's not what it's for. Prometrium or progesterone will just buffer your progesterone. You need to still produce your progesterone yourself. So looking at different ways of doing that. Working with myself, I help women to do that. I help women with their estrogen dominance and help women to increase your natural estrogen in a body that is working optimally. So your clearance is good, your gut is good, your liver is great. So that's all important and something to really look into, and something we don't consider when we're looking at HRT. You know, I think it's just like putting, you know, paint over something that really is not in the best place. The integrity is not there. It isn't in the best place. It's just you're masking sometimes, and it's so important to make sure that we're really looking at all facets of health specifically. I have another client, which is Lisa again, and she's asked about increased histamine response in perimenopause and the feeling that's heightened, the allergy symptoms we get. And it's so true. So many women come onto this space and talk a lot about histamines and talk a lot about, you know, the itchiness that they get, the itchy skin, the urticaria, you know, some of the skin outbreaks, nasal congestion, burning, itching down there, UTIs, gut disturbance, you name it, there's a whole heap. What is histamine? So histamine is an immune cell mediated response. We need it for our libido, we need it for our gut to make good acid, we need it for our brain, we need it for our mojo, we need it for so many different reasons. So it helps our brain and our mood as well. So it's really important factor when we're, you know, considering what histamines are. In a world where we live in Western medicine that tends to reduce histamines, everyone is on an antihistamine. Everyone's on something to reduce the histamine load, which can be okay if you have a problem with histamines. But the problem with histamines comes from that, once again, what I've been talking about today is, you know, not having the gut clearance, not having the liver detox in place, not being able to excrete the histamines well. And we have an enzyme, the DAO, which helps to excrete it. Estrogen and histamine play together. So histamine calls estrogen, estrogen calls histamine. So as they call each other, estrogen will stimulate the ovaries to make more histamine. And as we're going through perimenopause, you know that your histamine, your estrogen levels are wild. They go off wild. That's why it's like the second puberty. And they are rampant at this stage. So what we do is we are, you know, we're in this stage where we're making lots of estrogen, and, you know, the actual histamine is rampant as well. So at the same time, the estrogen's calling it, but where it's being produced, it's getting very much tantalized by the estrogen, because estrogen's telling the ovaries to produce more and more and more of it. And we can have our mood swings, it can affect our libido, and it can go to a stage where we don't offload it and excrete it very well. So we do end up with these symptoms, and that's so unfortunate, because women end up with so many issues with, you know, from their brain to their toes. It can affect our skin, it can affect our, it can affect just the way we clear the toxins in our body. So important to work with somebody if you have some histamine issues, or mast cell activation is what it's called. I know I work with clients who have mast cell activation, because there are more things than you realize that it can actually interfere with. You know, migraine's a huge one. It's one that gets overlooked a lot in perimenopause as well. I don't have any other questions, unless anybody has any questions that they would like to put in the chat. I don't think there is any in there at the moment. Most of them come through our actual chat that we have on Facebook, our Your Hormones Wrecking Your Health, or it's Menopause Wrecking Your Health. So I do have a chat. I can put that down in the live later, in the notes. But if you do have any questions, please let me know. I love answering your questions every week. I love being your menopause expert for the Yeh 40 Plus girls. Wonderful group. and I love working in this space. I've been working with women for 20 years. I started in clinical. My baby, I left nursing in applied health science. Science is my first thing. And then I met with Western medicine, I met Eastern medicine. I ended up doing functional nutrition, herbalism, and I'm a holistic health coach also for Diabetes Victoria, and I've been working for them for 17 years. So I have a real experience working with women clinically. I run my own program, Embrace Nutrition and Holistic Health, in which I do functional medicine there. I look at all things migraine, chronic fatigue. I look at perimenopause and menopause. I look at adrenal, thyroid issues. I look at depression and anxiety. So I help women. I run protocols and programs for them. So if you wanted to find out more, please check out my page. I'm on live Tuesday mornings at 10:30. And also come on Fridays and have a little bit of a chat with you guys about whatever is coming up for me at that time, and really looking at, helping women at the crux of what you're going through. Perimenopause and menopause, or menopause is affecting half of our population. So yeah, we've got to talk about it. There's a huge taboo about it. There are many misconceptions, and we need to debunk those myths. I'm also running an expo at the end of the year in Melbourne at the Werribee Mansion, if anyone knows about it. It's Embrace Menopause, that's the name. Embrace, my business name. So if anyone is interested in helping out or being part of that, a stall holder, you have something that you can offer women. If you have anything that you can offer women in terms of, you've got low tox clothing, or you have a modality that you offer especially to women at the perimenopause and menopause time frame, then please message me. I'm looking for people to be part of this day. It's on the beautiful grounds of the Werribee Mansion, right at the back. We will have keynote speakers. We will have stalls. We'll have some exercises and some yoga and Pilates and breath work taking place. So if you have a modality you'd like to share, you'd like to work with me and collaborate, I'm always in a collaboration with women and people in general. So let me know if you know someone as well. I'd love to know. I need some help with this. So we don't have anything like this in the Western Hemisphere. So let's do this. And I'd love to hear from you. So if you have any ideas, if you have any other questions, please feel free to message me, Sharon Casagalia, and find my Facebook page as well, or just message me here in the Yeh The 40 Plus group. If I see your questions up there, I will try to answer them as well if I come across them. Martha will often tag me. Thank you, Martha, as your group menopause expert, so I'll answer them there. But apart from that, I wish you all the best day and the best week. And I really look forward to touching base with you all again with your questions. And please, say hello. Come in and say hello in my space. And I hope I answered it all. And I hope if you have any other questions for next week that we can start maybe a batch of topics that you would like to explore together. Okay, have the best day. Love you all. Bye.